Okay, Arnie, you're all set. I'm going to mute myself.
Okay, Joanne, thank you very much and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the November 15th, 2023 meeting of the Danbury Planning Commission. We will open with the roll call. Mr. Kiokio.
Here.
Ms. Hofstetter.
Here.
Mr. Sylvain.
Here.
Mr. Haas.
Here.
And Chairman Finaldi is here, so we do not need to seat alternates this evening. The first item on our agenda is actually, before I do that, let me do the virtual Zoom meeting intro. This meeting of the Danbury Planning Commission is being held on Zoom as a virtual meeting. Even though this meeting is a virtual meeting, members of the public and interested parties continue to have the opportunity to participate in the meeting in a couple of different ways. You can participate via Zoom and see the audio and the video, or you can call in by phone and participate via audio only. Please be aware that we may have to mute your microphone or telephone to avoid an echo or some other background noise. Instructions on how to participate in the meeting appear on the City of Danbury website, and all of the documents and materials that apply to the matters to be discussed during this meeting, including the agenda, are also available on the City of Danbury website. As always, if you have any questions regarding how to participate in the meeting, please contact the City of Danbury Planning and Zoning Department. As a reminder, the entire meeting will be posted on and can be seen on the City of Danbury website. We will follow the posted agenda as per standard practice. If prior to the meeting, any questions or comments on agenda items are submitted via email to the Planning and Zoning Department, those comments will be read during the appropriate portion of the meeting. Finally, please remember that technology glitches do sometimes occur. Please be patient if that happens. We will skip the matter of approving the minutes of the November 1st, 2023 meeting. Those minutes are pending, and we'll handle that at our next meeting. Speaking of that, make a note, please. Our next regular meeting is scheduled for December 6th, 2023. Moving forward, I believe notice went out. Oh, I'm sorry, it's right on the agenda. There was one public hearing shown, but it's, as mentioned on the agenda, and I'm reading, the following public hearing has been rescheduled and will be renoticed for the December 6th, 2023 meeting. There was some sort of a defect in the notice. And that's the matter of JAR Associates, LLC, application for special exception site plan for 1 warehouse, section 682B19, 2 storage, sale, and or repair of construction equipment, section 682B16, and 3 storage of building materials, section 682B15 in the IL40 zone, 4 Leemack Avenue, K14122, special exception number 796. Again, that public hearing will be moved forward until our meeting on December the 6th. Looking at the agenda, we have nothing under continuation of public hearings, so we'll go right to old business for discussion and possible action. Item 1, Brookview Commons LLC, application for revision to special exception approval granted June 5th, 2019 for Brookview Commons Phase 2. Request to change conditions of approval, 333 Main Street, I-13034, special exception numbers 767. And commission members, we did receive the resolution of denial dated November 14th, 2023. Make sure I got the right one here. There's 2 of them. Hold on. That's the floodplain. Oh, so this is the grant. All right, sorry. And Jen, did you want to speak to that resolution?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. So you have the resolution of denial before you. The whereases go through the history of the provide information on the application itself, the information received by the applicant. It goes through the history, how we got to this point, what the applicant's proposing to do. It also on page 2, it goes through, and these are the same details provided in my staff report. It provides a brief summary of the work as it relates to the floodway and the floodplain. Again, those are virtually the same as what you saw in the staff report. Acknowledges that as part of the record is my staff report, the staff report from Diane Ifkovic from the state. And again, that encompasses the record. So moving to page 4, under the therefore it be it resolved. Again, this sets up the reasons for the denial. So under number 1, the very first reason, the application fails to comply with section 7A. as well as 44 CFR, which is the Code of Federal Regulation. Under A, it details why it doesn't comply with Section 7A. And just as a reminder, and this is detailed in those bullet points noted in the whereases, the encroachment into the adopted floodway deemed acceptable by the commission was predicated on the mandatory compliance with 44 CFR. And this allows a community to permit those encroachments within the adopted floodway, provided that the community does applies for the CLOMR/LOMR, fulfills those requirements, and then receives final approval through that approved LOMR upon post-construction. Again, this is the process. There's no discretion. We have to comply with the NFIP requirements. And again, that's why the 2019 approval required, prior to the issuance of certificate of zoning compliance, that LOMR, FEMA issued LOMR, be provided. And again, this condition provides the city with the assurances that those requirements have been fulfilled, and that it complies with Section 7A, and that we remain in compliance with the NFIP requirements. And amending that condition as proposed by the applicant only guarantees submission of the CLOMR prior to zoning sign-off. A final determination by FEMA would not be received. And again, we're not, and that means that we're not able to determine compliance at that point. And that it could then lead to a FEMA determination that we hadn't enforced our floodplain regulations. Again, right now, our floodplain regulations comply with NFIP requirements. What brought us to this point was the work in the floodway. And that predicated the requirement, for one of the reasons it predicated the requirement for the CLOMR/LOMR. So we want to make sure that we're continuing to stay in compliance. Under, excuse me, under B 44 CFR, with no time frame for submission, and if the LOMR is not approved by FEMA, it means it wasn't built in accordance with that hydraulic modeling that was in fact approved through that CLOMR. And again, we have no leverage to remedy possible site violations. It would then require the city to go out and make those, would require the city to go out and remedy those violations. I'm on page 5 at this point. So again, if the city fails to correct those deficiencies, and this was discussed during the testimony as well as in my report and the state's memo, that those deficiencies, and those would be identified as violations, which would then, if they are not remedied, we could be found to be in, again, violation, subject to probation and possible suspension. And excuse me, under number 2, the second reason for the denial, compliance with the policies set forth, as I said, they're mandatory. And again, this ensures that the city remains eligible for the city residents to purchase that flood insurance and have access to federal disaster assistance. If we're not in compliance, all of that is pulled from us. We work, as staff, we work very hard to make sure that we stay in compliance with the NFIP requirements for that very reason. So 3 and 4, again, it's just reiterating what happens if we don't have that LOMR in hand. Again, we can't compel BRT to remedy those violations, which then jeopardizes our standing. And based on, again, evidence in the record, the commission cannot reasonably conclude that the changes to the conditions will not jeopardize public health, welfare, and safety to those persons affected by the changes within the special flood hazard area. Any questions?
Any questions for Jen? We had a pretty long and detailed public hearing on this, an extensive discussion, a long staff report. So I think we all know what the issues are. Thank you, Jennifer, for that summary. Any discussion? And if there isn't, I will entertain a motion. Now, remember, a yes vote, a motion would be in favor of the resolution of denial. So a yes vote would be in favor of the resolution of denial. A no vote would not be in favor of the resolution of denial. It's a little weird, but I wanted to make sure I clarified that. With that said, is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman?
Ms. Hofstadter.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to deny this application based on all the compelling reasons that were spelled out very clearly and in great detail, and also were discussed at length that pointed out the risks involved in accepting this resolution. So my motion is to deny.
Okay, your motion is to approve the resolution of denial.
Yes.
Okay, let's make sure. Okay, there's been a motion to approve the resolution of denial. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Kiokio. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, and again, a yes vote is to approve the resolution of denial. A no vote is to not approve the resolution of denial. All in favor, please say yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Opposed? The resolution of denial is approved. Okay. We'll move right to the second one on Brookview. Item 2. Let me get to that. My apologies. Brookview Commons LLC application for revision to combined floodplain permit approved on June 19, 2019 for Brookview Commons Phase 2. Request to change conditions of floodplain permit 333 Main Street, I-13034, and 30 Crosby Street, I-13045, special exception number 676. Again, Commission members, this matter did get its own resolution of denial dated November 14th of 2023. And Jen, do you want to give us a summary of this one?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. So this one's a little different. There was no public hearing, as we don't do public hearings for the floodplain permit. The commission did discuss it at the last meeting, provided guidance. And again, the whereases set up the request, provide the history. Again, this one's a little different because the special exception had the requirement prior to the issuance of zoning compliance. And then there was another one to provide the LOMR under general comments. Under the floodplain permit, the condition in the 2019 floodplain permit just said, provide a copy of the FEMA issued LOMR. The request by the applicant is to make that change to say, provide a copy of the FEMA issued CLOMR and the city endorsed LOMR. All I did was sign and basically say it complies with these requirements. You still have to get that final determination from FEMA. So the floodplain permit only provides the CLOMR. And again, as discussed under the grant, though, those issues are clear and have been documented for the same exact reasons. It doesn't comply with the floodplain regulations. Again, we're not able to get those assurances that the project was constructed in accordance with the modeling and in accordance with the LOMR, the mandatory LOMR requirements. And again, for the exact same reasons, compliant, we're not able to get that compliance. It puts us in jeopardy with the NFIP, which again, leaves our residents at risk for not being eligible to purchase flood insurance. Under number 3, revision of the original floodplain permit as proposed does not set forth the time frame for submission of the LOMR. Again, for the reasons noted earlier and in the body of the whereases, it's important. We need to have that LOMR to ensure, 1, that the project was constructed in accordance with all the approvals, and 2, if there are such violations, we have no way of compelling him to remedy those violations. Again, the goal is to make sure that we continue to be in compliance with the NFIP. So that is the bulk of the reasons for denial for the floodplain permit. Do you have any questions?
Questions or issues for Jennifer, commission members? Hearing none, and again, it's the same as the last. I'll entertain a motion to approve or deny the resolution of denial. Anyone like to make that motion? Mr. Kyokyo.
Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the resolution of denial dated November 14th for the revised floodplain permit, I think, right?
Yes.
For the reasons stated within there, including noncompliance with 7A of the Danbury zoning regs and provisions in the 44 CFR.
A motion has been made to approve the resolution of denial. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Hosstetter. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of approving the resolution of denial, please say aye.
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 Opposed? The resolution of denial is approved. Okay. We'll
Thank you.
continue. Welcome. We will continue on our agenda, moving down to referrals. There's 183A, petition of Danbury Mall LLC, 7 Bacchus Avenue, F16015, F16014, F17014. I'll skip the reading of the map numbers. We'll just in the best interest of time. For change of zone from CG20 to MURM, M-U-R-M, Mixed Use Regional Mall. Zoning Commission public hearing is scheduled for November 28th, 2023. So, Jen, this is what's kind of interesting. I guess we created the zone. Now we have to move something into it. Is that a quick summary of what we're doing here?
I think it is, Mr. Chairman. Sharon's going to take this one.
Okay, Sharon, all you.
Thank you. For the record, I'm Sharon Calitra. I'm the planning director for Danbury. So yes, we received an application from Danbury Mall LLC to rezone the 7 parcels on Bacchus Avenue from the CG20 zoning district, which is a general commercial zoning district, to this new MURM, Mixed Use Regional Mall zoning district. We try to come up with some other name for it, but that's what it is and sticks.
Best we can do.
Yeah, it's the best we can do, and I kind of like it. So you have my staff report dated November 8th. I'll just walk you through it and then answer any questions. So while the Danbury Mall LLC owns the majority of the properties proposed to be rezoned, there are other lots that are included in the petition. I've listed those. The Macerich Company is the parent company of 2 of those lots that are included, and all of the lot owners have signed letters, and we have them on file agreeing to wanting to be in the MURM district. And the lot ownership is identified on the zone change map, which you have a copy of. And the reasons supporting the petitioner's request were provided in their legal counsel's letter to the commission dated October 16th, as well as supporting letters, both of which are dated October 30th, 2023. So the subject site to be rezoned consists of 7 parcels and comprises 116.29 acres. The area to be rezoned from the CG20 to the MURM is 119.84 acres. And the difference is, as you know, according to section 3B3 of the zoning regulations, to the middle of Bacchus Avenue. So when a zone is adjacent to or across the street from another zone, the zoning regulations require you to go to the middle of the road. So that 3.55 acres is the right of way of Bacchus Avenue where the zone doesn't touch. So in terms of the zoning for the area, the land generally north and east is zoned IL40. There's a small lot immediately to the east that I refer to in my report, because I think we all know it as this, Joseph A. Banks is located on, is still CG20. A portion of the railroad tracks and the lots northeast of the subject parcels are zone CA 80, and the lots immediately adjacent to the subject lots to the west, as well as most of those to the south are across Bacchus Avenue are zone CG 20. And as you would know, rezoning would allow changes in use on all the lots to the new zone, including a myriad of commercial uses, as well as the apartment house and the garden apartments. And I felt that it was important for the record just to note, based on the size of the parcel, what could be proposed in terms of residential density, because I know everybody talks about that and wants to know about that. So if you take the 116.29 acres and divide it by the density requirement, you would come up with 144 dwelling units. That wouldn't include a bump that you would get or a density bonus if the lot owners requested approval under the housing incentive option, which is an option available under the new MIRM zoning district. And all the changes, as you can imagine, and the in use and the other site changes are subject to the requirements of that new zone and any necessary land use approvals. In terms of the MIRM district requirements, there are some dimensional requirements that have to be met. And then let me just walk you through them quickly. They are outlined in my memo. There are development standards in sections 5I, 3A through D. In terms of ownership and a minimum lot size, you have to have 100 acres. This site in total constitute 116 acres. The lots have to be in single ownership or owned by a different entity, but under a unified control or a reciprocal easement agreement. And as you saw from the application, we do have a letter verifying, that they are under a reciprocal easement agreement. The site and the uses and buildings they're on are required to be served by municipal water and sewer, and they are indeed provided with municipal water and sewer services. In terms of the residential dwelling unit uses, if in the future a residential use is desired, this section, which is subsection C, requires that the use be located in a building or substantially within the footprint of a building, which is 75,000 square feet or larger. And to verify, the applicant wanted to, at the time that they're proposing the rezoning, wanted to verify the size of the building. So they submitted a copy of the latest overall site plan that was approved by this commission, the Planning Commission in March of 2023, which lists the building sizes. So you know what it is today. Subsection D, which is access and location, the MIRM sites are required to have direct access to an arterial or collector road and be located within a half mile of a limited access highway or connector. And the sites proposed to be rezoned meet these criteria. Bacchus Avenue is indeed, I know it sounds odd, but according to our regulations, it is an arterial road, and Route 7/I-84 are adjacent to it. So in terms of those development standards, we feel it meets those. In the general use regulations of the new MIRM district, section 5I5A, the lots proposed to be rezoned meet the overall dimensional requirements relative to the acreage, the setbacks, and the coverage. And again, the applicant has submitted the March 2023 plan that was approved by the commission to verify compliance with those standards. There are specific use regulations in the MIRM zoning district for permitted uses, and it's sections 5I, 6A3, and D. And I'll just walk you through those real quick again. Section 5, A3 requires for an apartment house or a garden apartment that the non-residential gross building area shall be no less than 93% of the gross building area on the site at the date of approval to change the zone to the MIRM district. So to verify that, again, the overall site plan from 2023 was provided, and you can do the calculation, and they meet the 93% requirement. And in addition, to verify the uses within the building, to determine trip generation for some future change. And I know it's a little odd, but the way it's set up is what it is today when they apply, so that we know what we're looking at later on. And these are all things that they're trying to verify today. And again, that's the way the regulations were set up. The petitioner has submitted additional documentation identifying the uses within the tenant spaces of the building and the outbuildings. And though there were additional maps, they're called uses in existence on the date of approval of the zone change maps. And there are 3 of those maps that were included. And so we do have those. I would just note for the record that there needs to be a change relative to 2 of the tenant spaces that are will be occupied. One is currently occupied by the Kids Club on level 1, which was the old, I think it was the old lower level of the Sava Fe by Lord and Taylor. And then they just got approval on the 2nd level for another Kids Club use. So they'll have to just change those maps, which it's fine. I think that's just kind of a minor point. But they wanted to just verify what was there today so that they could move forward from this point. And then in terms of the sign regulations in the MIRM district, section 8E 4A little a 1A, this section limits the maximum aggregated wall signage in the MIRM district to on a MIRM site, I should say, to 5% of the total wall area of all buildings and structures on the site. And the applicant has provided a ton of information relative to the areas and square footages of the signage. And that's fine. They're not proposing, again, this is a rezoning, but they just want to set the floor, I guess is the best way to put it. So they did provide all that information in the wall area sign study, and that any application for any new signage would be reviewed and approved by the zoning enforcement officer, because he does the signs based on confirmation of this sign data. So that is in the record at the time they proposing to go to the MIRM district. In terms of the POCD, which is the Plan Conservation and Development, for those who don't know, we recognize that the Danbury Fair Mall was an important economic driver for the city of Danbury, and it was recommended that there be some consideration for flexibility in the zoning to accommodate some future needs there. The lots were designated on the FLUM, which is the future land use map, as appropriate for inclusion in what the POCD called the regional mall category. And that category and the description of that category really form the basis of the mixed use regional mall, or MIRM zoning district regulations, which were adopted and approved by you, and also adopted and approved by the Zoning Commission. So in terms of consistency with the Plan of Conservation and Development, we feel it's consistent. Zoning regulations, section 10I3 provides some zone change criteria, and there are general criteria which are listed for consideration for every zone change, and I've walked you through those. In terms for the new MIRM district, it was created to recognize, again, the regional significance of the parcels that comprise the Danbury Fair Mall, their importance in the area and to Danbury, and to address specific issues associated with redevelopment opportunities. In our opinion, the lots are suitable for the uses allowed in the MIRM zone, and most uses currently exist there. I mean, it's built out. Approvals for any new uses will be required in accordance with those district regulations and all other applicable regulations. And the allowed uses in the MIRM zone are compatible with the surrounding land area. It's unlikely that any other sites in Danbury probably could be rezoned to this MIRM district, and that we talked about that at the time of creation of this new zone. And a majority of the uses in the MIRM zone are the same as those that are permitted in the CG20. And some could say it's more restrictive. So some uses in the CG20 are not allowed in this zone. There are a couple additional uses in terms of the housing, but there are other uses that are not permitted. So reducing the CG20 zone by 116.29 acres, we didn't feel was significant. we're kind of in a quandary because there's no specific mixed-use regional mall zone change criteria. So what I did was I went to we considered the criteria in both the mixed residential and the general commercial districts relative to the compatibility with the surrounding residential areas and access to, in terms of adjacency to arterial or collector streets and transit routes, provision of municipal water and sewer, and the development on sites, slope sites or sites that had a preponderance of wetlands or which lie in the public water supply watershed areas. And because of where it is, how it's developed, we really feel like it meets all of those criteria. I know there's been some discussion about, flooding related issues, and I can tell you that ongoing maintenance of the stormwater system has been addressed during each site plan review that has gone on this site. And most recently, and Jen can tell you the date because I don't remember it offhand, but most recently for those site changes associated with the Target retail store application. So we are looking at that, considering that, thinking about that every time there is some new development on that site. In conclusion, the rezoning to the MIRM zoning district, in staff's opinion, is consistent with the POCD, meets the zone change criteria as indicated in my staff report, and as noted by Attorney Beecher, and you do have a copy of his letter, this rezoning request does represent a culmination of planning and zoning amendment process that really has been ongoing for years. I do commend them for kind of stepping back while we finish the POCD, let us do our planning work, and then let us consider what you want after that. And I think they do deserve some recognition for that. And as such, staff, we do not have any objection to this. We created the district. You guys approved it under the referral. The zoning commission created it. The district is alive and living. So this is the site that was, envisioned to be in that district. So, we have no objection to this request.
Thank you very much, Sharon. Very, very
Thanks.
thorough. Very thorough. It's a process, like you said. A referral comes to us, and then zoning does their thing, and then we do our thing. But anytime there's a new zone, you have to be very, very thorough and check it very carefully. And your staff did that, so well done.
Thank you.
Commission members, any questions for Sharon? Anything you'd like to discuss on the referral? Not much left to say after Sharon gets done, huh? Okay, well, if there's nothing else, again, this is an A3A referral, commission members. Unless there's anything else, I'll entertain a motion for a positive referral.
Mr. Chairman, so moved.
Motion made by Ms. Hofstadter for a positive referral. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Sylvain. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I assume it's based on the staff report and the reasons contained therein.
Yes.
Sorry, Helen, just doing that.
That's right. It's consistent with the POCD and meets the zoning changes required as indicated in the report.
Thank you, Helen.
There.
And you still second that, Mr. Sylvain? Good.
I do.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll try your minds. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed. This A3A referral gets a positive. Well done. Thank you, everybody. Very thorough.
Thank you, everyone, and have a happy Thanksgiving.
You too, Attorney Beecher. We're going to move to a much less complicated referral. Item 2.
We'll watch those.
Item 2 under referrals. This is an A24, not an A3A. November of 2023, City Council Agenda number 12. A sewer main extension, 22 De Palma Lane, G06045. Jen, are we back to you, or Sharon going to take this one too?
Oh, no, I'll handle this. Thank you.
Gotcha. Got it.
We'll give Sharon a break.
All right. Okay.
So we have a request from City Council for 22 De Palma Lane. I actually had to look this one up. I did not know where De Palma Lane is. It's south of the Marjorie Reservoir off of, I believe, Peck Road. It's an existing lot, residential lot, that is located in the RA 40 zoning district. There was a subdivision a long time ago. They just never built on it. They need to extend the sewer main to the front of hold on here, terminates in front of the adjacent property to the south. So they're going to the north to make that connection to their property. It's within the proposed sewer service area. Staff has no objection, provided it complies with all the standard requirements noted in the report.
Jennifer, full disclosure, as the chairman of the Danbury Planning Commission, I have absolutely no idea where De Palma Lane is either. I couldn't tell you where it is.
I don't feel so bad.
All right. Any questions for Jen on the matter of the request for the sewer main extension 22 De Palma Lane? Anything? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to for a positive or a negative referral. Anybody want to jump in on this one?
Sorry, I was muted. Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion for a positive referral.
Motion made. Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Mr. Haas, okay, motion made and seconded for a positive referral. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That 824 referral gets a positive, I'm sorry, that 8 gets a positive referral. Okay. Number 3 on our agenda, 824 referral, November 2023, City Council agenda item number 13, another sewer main extension, Fairfield Avenue, Morton Street. I don't know where Morton Street is either, now that I think about it.
It's off of Coal Pit.
All right. Okay, Jennifer, it's all yours. Go ahead.
Thank you. Just north of Rogers
This is the
Park.
Danbury Planning Commission, isn't it? Okay.
It is.
Go ahead, Jen.
Thank you. So this is a request for a sewer main extension. This is an existing multifamily development that we call Madeline Ridge. They, the property owner, Jeff Bruno, contracted to purchase the adjacent property. So he recently obtained site plan approval for an expansion of the development. Currently exists at 14. They're proposing another 6 two-family residential buildings for a total of 21. Currently, the sewer main is looped within the development, so this would then create a spur off of that, loop back, and then come out into the existing main in Morton Street. Again, it's within the existing sewer service area. Staff has no objection.
Questions for Jennifer? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion for a positive or negative referral.
I'll make a positive referral, Mr. Chairman.
Motion made for a positive referral. Do I see a second out there? Anyone?
I'll second it.
Haas will second that. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This matter gets a positive referral, and we'll go to the final 824 referral. November 2023, City Council agenda number 14. This one's a water main extension. Same thing, Fairfield Avenue, Morton Street, K16004. Jennifer, last one.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. So again, this is the same development. Usually when they fill out these applications, there's a box for both sewer and water. In this case, they just filled out separate applications. So it's the exact same request on the property. It's just for the water main extension. The conditions exist the same. It's currently, the main is currently on site. They're proposing to loop it. And again, it comes back, the water main comes out onto Morton Street. Staff has no objection.
Questions for Jennifer? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion for a positive or negative referral. Whose turn is it?
I'll make a motion.
Mr. Haas makes a
Referral.
motion for a positive referral. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Mr. Kiokio, second. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Moving along on our agenda, commission members, you'll see an item under new business. Black Wolf Properties, public hearing date to be announced. The schedule for 2024 has been released as well. Take a look at that.
Wait, can we?
Yes.
Did we have another one for Felocia, or is that just FYI?
No,
No,
we're
that's
coming up
coming
to
up.
it. We're
Oh,
coming up.
sorry. Okay.
Here we go. This is the last item on our agenda, Helen. Other matters for discussion and possible action. Sort of an odd duck here. We don't usually see anybody
Undo.
request removal of a special exception, but that's what it is. So let me just read this. Letter from Haven Care at Filosa, 1321 Hakem Street, G14054, requesting removal of special exception approval, SE 643, granted April 5th, 2006. Wow. Jennifer, all yours.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I know the representative, Mr. Shapiro, is here. But just so he understands, he's not allowed to speak because it's not a public hearing. So I'll be representing their request. So Filosa is under a new ownership, and I believe, again, they're requesting the termination of the grant of special exception. So the grant was issued back in 2006 for a cell antenna, Nextel. I'm not sure if it was installed and it was subsequently removed, but our zoning enforcement officer went out there, verified that it was in fact removed or wasn't there at all. So because of that, and I believe they want clean title, they requesting that it be terminated. Again, it'd be null and void. And to do that, you have to file something on the land records so that, again, in the chain of title, it shows that special exception has been terminated and is null and void. And they've provided kind of the form in which they'll do that. The only thing that we request of Mr. Shapiro is once, and I believe we have to sign. Yeah, we'll be signing this, and there'll be a notary as well. That
I can
once
notarize it. I can do it.
Thanks, Joe. Once this is filed on the land records, that a copy of the recording receipt be provided to myself and Joanne, so we can keep it in the file folder.
Okay.
So other than that, it's fairly straightforward. We don't. Helen's right. We don't get these. But this is the process for that.
Okay. So the approval of 2006 is on the land records, and they want it just declared null and void. Just wipe it off.
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
Questions for Jennifer? Anyone? Now, this is just for discussion and possible action.
I think you have to vote. Joanne's nodding. You do have to vote on this. So it'd be a motion to terminate the grant of special exception, SC 643.
Anyone have any discussion? Pretty straightforward stuff here, folks. Any discussion? I mean, if not, I'll entertain a motion to grant the removal of the special exception that was granted in 2006. Would anyone like to make that motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make that motion.
Looks like Mr. Kyokyo made the motion. Mr. Sylvain seconded.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? The special exception we granted in 2006 is removed. Okay. There's several items here shown for reference only to take a look at for stuff that's coming up.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, and I forgot to mention this when we spoke earlier. Under new business, we received another application for a grant for the shops at Marcus Dairy. They're adding a urgent care, which is considered medical. So that's new business. We have not scheduled the public hearing for that yet. It'll likely be the first or second meeting in January.
Okay. Thanks, Jen.
Going in with
Thanks.
Chipotle.
What's that, Kev?
Wasn't that what they were putting in with Chipotle?
Yeah.
For one, wasn't it going to be?
Yeah, I
Yes.
don't think, I'm not sure what they're doing. I don't think they're doing an urgent care there, but they were approved for medical, a portion of it for medical.
I also want to make sure Joanne gets on the record that I watched the last meeting for Brookview Commons.
I should have asked for that, Kevin. Thank you for saying that. My bad. Thank you.
Yep, and I started to say it and I was on mute, and then I just let things go and figured I'd say before we finished.
Feel free to tell me to shut up. No problem at all. Okay. Is there anything else, commission members? And if not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Looks like Mr. Haas,
Second.
motion now that he's not muted. Mr. Kyokyo seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.